Welcome to a brand new episode of the Post Game. I'm your host, Davion, and I'm joined by Matt
What up?
and Oronde.
Was good.
And we are back with our Let's Talk NFL series. Today we are talking about starting a new division, starting with the Cleveland Browns today. Browns have had a very interesting offseason. A lot of money being spent, a couple of quarterbacks being drafted. But first off, like, what would you grade the Browns offseason on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being they've had a great offseason, 1 being they need to fire their GM.
So far this off season, I mean, they've made some interesting pickups, but it's not like they aren't filling in gaps that they really needed to.
Mm.
But there's a lot of chatter surrounding the Browns. A lot of interesting news coming out of that camp. So while I can't grade them too highly, I also won't grade them too low. I give them a C,
Mm.
maybe a D plus, a C.
Yeah.
It's
Dang.
average, but there's too much noise going into this.
Okay. Um, I mean, like you said, Oronde, there's a lot of talk around the Browns this offseason. They went from the second pick in the draft, one of the worst teams in the league, end up making that trade with the Jacksonville Jaguars, back to five, getting Mason Graham, which I think is still incredible for them. The fact that they were able to get both Dylan Gabriel and Shador Sanders is a little interesting. Um, Now they have whatever, like four or five QBs on the roster total.
Four
So
QBs
four QBs with
in a
Flacco and
real
Pickett.
QB battle.
Yeah. So um, obviously that's the biggest conversation out of the Browns camp is just who's going to be their quarterback, who's, looked the best, who's looked the worst, things like that. If I had to grade their offseason, honestly, probably like a six, maybe low seven, just because like people on the free agency they signed were not that like eye popping or like crazy. I mean, they had to force $123 million down Myles Garrett's throat just to get him to come back.
Mhm.
And then, um, yeah, I mean, Deontay Johnson is like the other big one who knows how that's gonna go. Um, their draft though, I think was like their bright spot in this offseason, and I think they did really well overall.
And they made picks I thought they would, just there were others that they
Right.
questionable.
And honestly, like with the whole Shador Sanders thing, I mean, the fact that they got him in the fifth round and they were able to just get as much as they can, with Judkins and the UCLA linebacker, who I think all their top three picks alone, I think are going to be really, really good
Yeah, I think those are going to be the bright spots out of this.
for sure. But again, quarterback, what is going to happen? What are they going to do? How long will this last? I guess for Cleveland
And
is going to be the
allegedly
big
around the
question.
league, Pickett's the current front runner, which I don't buy at all. But like,
I think it makes sense because they traded for him in the offseason. So obviously it was kind of for nothing. It was just for backups. Basically, they were swapping them in Philly, but I don't know. Mm, to me like Shador's probably gonna get the start eventually, but who knows?
So, I mean, here's the thing. If I had to give I'm right there with y'all. I think a C, probably a 7 out of 10. Because when I look at this team, like they don't move the needle. Like it doesn't move the needle for their offseason. Like they're still gonna be, they're in a hard division. They're gonna be playing against two very hard.
No, three.
Yeah, I mean, granted, depends on if Cincinnati comes back this year and they're actually a competent team or not. Like that's also a question too. Like I
yeah,
think
it's
we're a
it's.
lot of people have just not talked about the idea that Cincinnati is going to be. I mean, they had a terrible season last year.
You mentioned Cincinnati. Their season opener, the Browns play Cincinnati,
Oh,
and the Browns
I'm locking the
are
Br
5.5 point dogs.
I'm locking the Browns. We know that happens.
whoa, wait a minute.
Okay.
I'll say this. Let's go back to these picks real quick. I think no one's really talking about Dylan Sampson from Tennessee. I mean, he was
Yeah.
number one. He was a top three back, top five back last season, in my opinion. Like he was a big driving factor of that offense for Tennessee last year, and I think people haven't said a word about him. Him being a fourth round pick, them also getting Quayshawn Junkins, in my opinion, is a great pickup. Like those two backs, and then are they going to bring back in Nick Chubb? He's still a free agent right now as well. They're in talks about bringing him back. But I think you look at this team, I think you see a lot of like talent pieces. I think the receiving core is a little bit to be desired, obviously. Um, but them picking up, them going out and getting those two running backs, showing that they really want to be showing that they want to really be a offensive running football threat, I think. And I think that's what they should be. Especially if they don't know if they don't love what's at the quarterback position, then running back position is just as good, in my
Like their
opinion.
top three, like their starting lineup on offense is interesting because obviously you have Jerome Ford returning for another year. They bring in Judkins and Simpson. Then you have your wide receiver room, which is Jared Judy, Cedric Tillman, Deontay Johnson, which is a pickup for this year.
Yuck.
Um, yeah. Uh, and some other interesting receivers like DeAndre Carter as well. Then you have Njoku, who was the lifeline of that offense last year.
Hmm.
And they do draft a tight end, Harold Fannin. Um, Honestly, I don't know too much about him, so I cannot say whether that's good or bad. But then you look at their defense, which is a lot, which is going to be improved a bit, if not significantly. Denzel Ward going into another year. Miles Garrett's back.
Uh-huh.
They draft Mason Graham. They draft Carson, who is already bullying the quarterbacks in camp right now. And they also bring in Devin Bush, which was a really good signing, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I agree.
I mean, Malik Collins as well. I can't go unmentioned if you're going to give him $20 million. So their defense, which will keep them in games, now it's up to the offense to actually put points on the board.
Yep. Also, their O line's a little skeptical this year too. Um,
And Juan Jones is still hurt, and
right.
I mean Benito is probably their anchor right now. Not even their center. It's their left guard.
Yeah, it's just like from what I remember last year is they just were hit with injuries and like the best days of their players on their O line are just like behind them and they're just kind of weakening and not getting as good as they used to be. I mean,
At least
PFF,
at least they get Teller back because he was on
right,
IR.
right. And
Teller is
he was
probably
really
their
good.
yeah.
But Cleveland Browns O line for PFF ranks 30th overall in the league, which is not good, especially if you have a rookie QB
Yeah.
uh, like Shador. But I kind of want to go back to the Shador Sanders thing because that's the biggest topic, of course. Honestly, do y'all think he can succeed like year one if he becomes a starter for the Browns, or do you think they would, um, bench him and just give him time?
I'll say this. I think succeed is a very ludicrous statement to say for one because you're in Cleveland, like especially with a team like this, who I don't think is ready to be succeeding inside of the AFC. We're gonna look at their schedule here in a second, but I think you look at this team, like I think Shador Sanders to me is the only option. I think Kenny Pickett, we've seen he's a bum. Dylan Gabriel is undersized. Now, as a
He's
Saints
good.
fan, I've never
He's good
really.
though.
Hold on. I didn't say he's not. I think Shador Sanders is better than him. I think you look at. We just talked about their O line, right?
Mm-hmm.
How it's bad. Shador Sanders has had a shaky, bad O line the last 2 years in college football that he's played, right? So he will
Mm-hmm.
understand and know
Yep.
that pressure. He will understand that he has 2 minutes to get the ball or 2 seconds to get the ball out because it's not going to be a long time. So I think he's just a better quarterback personally. Um,
And
I mean, like I'm here for a quarterback battle against with Dylan Gabriel and Shador Sanders. I'm not here to watch Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett have a quarterback battle. I think you're looking at two older players, like two, I hate to say it, two bums. Like it's over for both of those. Like simple as that.
and I
Yeah.
just want to give a brief shout out to my boy Jason Ivey on the Browns practice squad. He's also an offensive tackle. He did well when he played, obviously, alma mater South Mac, and he went to NCAA, um, I mean, not the best conference to come out of, but 6'5", probably around 280, 300 right now. So
Um,
he can bring some much needed size to that Browns O line if they use him. But
for
just want to
sure.
shout out my boy because they need the help. The Browns O line needs the help, and he can definitely do that.
so let's jump to, well, I want to say one more thing. Kevin Stefanski came out the other day and said that he's in love with Shador Sanders. Like, that could just be table talk, but we'll see. I mean, it could be the nod for him to you know,
I
I mean,
think I
Shador did
think he
say something
could.
important that the all of the animosity towards him is just being aimed at his dad, just because his dad was played an active role in developing his football career.
Yeah. But this is also the problem too. Like obviously, like it's all over now. Like he got drafted, congrats. That's great. But like I think the way whatever the rumors were coming out, but the way he handled himself during those meetings and stuff was just kind of ugly to hear because he was treating himself like he was his dad, even though his dad was a bona fide top five player going into that draft, no matter what. And then
with Shador.
Shador, sh no, not at all. I don't think he was a bona fide top five. It's because of the name. And like if you legit look on paper, yes, he's a really good player, but like if he was I hate to give this example, like if he was in next year's class or even the one previously, he probably would have gotten drafted, in the same spot or worse because there's just way more talent compared to this year's. But um I think he's going to be good, honestly. And the fact that he went in the fifth round is like, that is still pretty shocking to me, but it's kind of a good move for Cleveland because, like, let's say worst comes to worst, if just it doesn't work out, it's
For
easy to get rid
4 million.
of.
Yeah. We only give him
Yeah.
4 million a year, I think, or 4 mil total.
Yeah, 4 million rookie contract.
I mean, when I think about when I hear like the conversations about the meetings and stuff, like it kind of pisses me off because it's like those NFL GMs, owners, whatever, they go into these meetings and they want to control these young dudes. They want to like sit there and like dictate how these dudes like what they say, how they say it, what they feel. And I think that's just not like at one point we need to like look at some of these NFL GMs and be like, all right, listen, like you don't need to be an asshole inside these meetings. Like
And also, at the end of the day, these meetings are just word of mouth unless they post the
how
footage.
they feel.
So
Right.
I'm
And
I'm not
also,
I'm not gonna to just take what the NFL says at face value because they're there to scrutinize these rookies, but you
yeah.
also have to give them the benefit of the doubt that
Mhm.
they're coming out of college system, and not every system is tailored to NFL success. And like you have to, I'm not going to say that the GMs don't know what they're doing, but also you got to.
I don't know.
Why are you being an ass?
Yeah.
Well, also, like, I think you have to look at it too, like, with like an NFL GM or owner, this is like, I think there's so much money involved and wrapped around this whole thing that of course they're gonna want you to be a certain way for their organization because that's how you're gonna get paid. That's how you're gonna get the fame, the starting jobs, things like that. And it's just kind of a cruel world nowadays like that. But like, hey, if I was an owner for a team and my quarterback was, treating it like there was nothing or half-assing everything, I think I'd be a little pissed for sure. I'm not saying Shador does that, but like if I was in a situation like that, I definitely wouldn't be, prone to it.
Yeah.
But that's all I'm saying. Just keep that in mind for sure.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, but before we head out, let's look at the schedule because I sent this in the group chat the other day and I said,
You were
what
so mad.
what happened? Who approved this for the Cleveland Browns? So I'm going to say the first 6 weeks, and I want y'all to tell me the estimated amount of wins. Just, you can already say the answer. Bengals to open, Ravens week 2, Packers week 3, Lions week 4, Vikings week 5 in London. Week 6 is away at Pittsburgh. I see 0 wins.
I see two wins.
Which two?
I think they beat Bengals week one because we know the Bengals never win week one. And then Jaguars.
They don't got
I,
Jacksonville.
oh wait, what was the London game you said?
Uh,
Vikings.
Vikings.
Oh, okay, then one win. My bad. I thought you said Jaguars.
I can get
The
behind that week
Jaguars
one.
win in London anyways. I don't know where you tried to confuse that.
Yeah.
Because it's the Jaguars.
Yeah, but they win in London, not in the States.
Okay.
Nice.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So I see
Ye-
0 wins. Or well, I mean, you can. I'm
I
here
the only
at home week one as
it should be
well.
zero. It should be zero wins, but
Yeah.
I just see the one because we've known this. The Bengals
So
have a slow start
So,
I
every
want to
time.
mention the over under for wins for the Cleveland Browns season. The median is 6.5. If you take
ooh,
the under, that's minus 220.
they must
Take
be
the over,
looking.
that's plus 180.
They must be looking at the second half of the season as some fun. All right. So week 7, Miami. What are you saying?
That could go either way.
What is Miami gonna do this year? That's the question.
That's the thing. They're just in like the worst type of limbo ever. But okay, continue. So they play Miami. Then what is it? Week
New England, week 8.
they're
You
gonna
got them
lose.
easy.
Yeah.
We got them easy. Then they go
I
to
don't think it'll be
Iowa.
easy, but it'll be close.
Yeah. Yeah, they're
Uh,
week 10. No, week 9. And then week 10 is Jets away.
It's winnable.
that's winnable for sure. Look, the thing is, obviously, like every year, Cleveland, it's gonna come down to their defense at the end of the day. So like, I think their defense can at least win maybe 3 games max. But like, if their offense is still this shaky or this bad, uh, I don't know what you do then
As long
at
as
that point.
Cleveland can do better than last year offensively, because they
Right.
averaged 15 points a game while
That's really bad.
allowing, I think, 20 something.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And they lost the turnover battle horribly last
Hmm.
season, going minus 22.
Jesus. Okay, so do we have like 2 wins total for him right now going into week 10?
Yeah,
Max.
currently.
Okay.
And then week 11, at home against the Ravens.
Mm.
Loss. Okay.
Uh, week 12, Raiders.
Mm.
Winnable.
Yeah.
Winnable.
And then week 13 at home for the Niners.
Loss.
Yeah. Home against the Titans week 14.
Winnable.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
another weird one. Okay. Winnable.
Oh,
Oh,
all right. Oops. Week 15, the Bears.
loss. That could be close depending how bad the Bears O line is though.
The Bears, the Niners, and the Dolphins are all in the same spot to me this year.
Just question marks.
Like who knows? Like who knows? You
Yeah.
know? And then the Bills on week 16,
Dude,
a blowout.
what the hell is this schedule?
And then Steelers, Bengals to end it off.
Wow.
Here's my
I would like the streets to know their cheapest game this season outside of preseason, of course,
$30.
is home game versus Tennessee week 14. It's $13.
Let's go.
Yep,
Big play.
we're there.
So are we predicting like 2 or 3 wins max, maybe? That seems
That's the Saints job right there. I'm gonna give them
that's
4 wins.
bad. Good
I
Lord.
I say Browns get 4 wins.
Yeah,
4?
they'll find 4.
Four.
They'll find 4.
They'll find a way.
Here's the
Okay.
thing, though. So, okay, here's a question. I got 2 questions here. First question: you got those first 6 weeks of hell. Do you go veteran quarterback or rookie quarterback to start?
I think you go pick it.
I
Mm,
think you go Pickett or Joe.
hmm.
Well, if Joe gets in, that ups their chances like 20%
Does it
of
though?
getting O in.
I don't know.
Right. I think they'll roll with Pickett though. And depending
Honestly,
on
throw
how that
Dylan Gabriel to
goes,
the fire.
Low key.
honestly try them all out.
No offense to Dylan.
Wait, so
I'm not his biggest fan. Just
what are
throw
they
him to
gonna
the
do
fire.
about Deshaun?
Well, so he's not playing this year.
He's not?
No, he tore his Achilles pretty bad, so he's
Oh
not
yeah,
playing.
that's right.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know what rumors are true or not. I've heard they want him back. I heard they
Oh,
don't want him back. I
he's been out of his boot for a few weeks and was throwing at the
but
facility.
they're
I
but they're
saw him
make
throwing.
but they don't want him. They don't want him back. They don't want him to play. Trust
If
me.
he plays, it'll probably be week.
Deshaun?
If he was to come back, I
No.
would say probably bye week.
When did he tear it?
It was pretty late in the season,
Oh,
from
he's
what I
done.
remember.
I think he'll be done then. If it was pretty
That's
late.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, he'll be
And
done.
also just all the media that came with him, I don't think they want to deal with that again. And now they get Shador. So, um,
That was the first question. I don't remember the other question.
so what? How they would do in that first 6 to 8 weeks,
First
and
six
then
to
what?
eight
This
don't look great. Um,
no.
I mean, is there a chance we see all four of them get a starting job at a
At
starting
one
job?
point, honestly, if it's just a disaster like last year, where like Cleveland just can't score, I could really see it where they just try everything.
I don't blame him. And
Oh,
I mean,
that's right. He tore it in week 7.
uh,
Yeah.
he botched. So, and then what do you do? Okay, here's the other question. You're that first, second overall pick next year. What do you do? Like you draft the quarterback again?
No.
See, this is the other thing too, because it's like Cleveland's just in a weird limbo now too, because it's like you may have solved your QB issue
You don't know.
by taking a flyer on these two guys, but like realistically, like honestly, I hate to say, I think Dylan's just going to be a good backup in the league, and then like Shador has a chance, I think, to
Yeah.
be a solid starter, but it's the Browns. We gotta think about. So
Dang, the Browns have their only primetime game is the London game.
They have a primetime game. Wow, we don't even have one. We also suck.
no, there's no way they do. The Browns have one.
The Browns, yeah, the Browns' only primetime game is the London game versus Minnesota.
Sad. Okay.
Yeah, their latest game starts 4:25. Their second Baltimore game at home.
Dude.
Maybe their week 18 flex game
Okay.
could go somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so then like do we want all their QBs to start or like what like
Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think I think so. While I do not despise the Browns organization, they've made some questionable choices with some of my favorite players coming out of college. Not going to throw names out there because Davion's not going to like one of them.
Say
But
his name. Say his name.
no, we're good.
Oh,
We're good.
Baker. Oh, bum.
Anyways, what I want out of this Browns team, because I like them more than I like the Niners. And Niners fans, if you're hearing this, I don't know why you're here. I
Uh-oh.
still hate your team.
Oh, here.
So I want the Browns to use everybody on the roster. I think it'd be really fun, but also really informative to get the information that they need out of their players and see who performs well and who needs more work. Might as well throw your QBs out there. Might as well use all of your linemen, mix and match like the Ohio State did on their way to winning a championship. Do I think you're going to get to a Super Bowl? Absolutely not. But I think you're going to get a lot of useful stuff out of playing everybody at this point. I mean, the defense is settled. It's all about the offense. You
yeah.
need more than 15 points a game. Like that's just downright horrible.
They won't
You have the
average.
defense to keep you in games.
Yeah.
Just score points. Your best tackler last year was Grant Delpit. He had 111 tackles. Ward only had 2 interceptions on the year. Had to on the field a lot.
Uh-huh. I mean, there was a spark of this team like last year. I mean, that game they played,
No, there wasn't. No, there wasn't.
there was
Davion.
when Jameis was in. They were at the end of the season ish, second middle of the season. They was a little
Sort of.
I
spark.
mean, he
I
did
mean,
throw
yeah,
for
they beat
400
They were
yards
competing for
on
a
the
playoff
Saints.
spot
they were not competing for a playoff spot.
in the division. Yes, they were.
No, they were not.
You know what?
They were the second worst team in the league, Davion.
Hey, man.
They weren't good. They weren't good going into the end of the season, and then
No, they
Jameis
fell off
started
the
to
top.
play.
No, they
They
fell
didn't
off.
even have a 100-yard rusher last year.
They fell
No,
you know what? I think I apologize for my outburst.
You apologize for your
Davion,
outburst.
they aren't a good team.
I didn't say they were.
They just aren't.
I literally just sat here and said that they will be the first or second worst team in the league next year.
Okay.
They're horrible. I got
Win,
to believe.
Winston,
I know
Winston. I don't know, bro.
they're just more competitive inside of the division because all the.
Oh, for sure.
That's more. I'm sorry. That's
They're
more what I was talking about.
they're gonna be one of the more competitive teams in the division because
Oh,
of their
2 or
defense.
3 wins came against division opponents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they beat Pittsburgh in that snow game. I remember that.
Yeah.
And they beat Baltimore at home.
Yes.
Winston
Yes.
had
I remember that
330 in
game
that
too.
game.
That game was nuts.
Oh, I'm
That's
looking through
all.
this schedule. There's a whole lot of red L's.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure.
It's about
For
to look like the same this year.
for sure. Hopefully New Orleans has the same rite of passage. I meant what?
What?
Well, anyway, well, any final thoughts you have on the Browns?
Um, Browns fans,
Get ready to see
poverty
power.
franchise.
Browns, just pray that one of your QBs hits eventually. That's kind of all I can say because they have the pieces on defense. Offense, maybe I think they need to go for more O-line and maybe another receiver,
Definitely
but
another
that's
receiver.
just me.
Yeah.
Browns fans, if you guys are betting, take the under. It's free money.
Smash it.
6.5 wins.
Smack
Take
that
it.
drum.
Under, under, under.
All right. Yeah, I'm right there with Matt. I think O-line and receiving core needs to be better. Other than that, they have the makeshifts of a team in a couple years. But who knows? Who knows? But this, I've been your host, Davion. It's been Matt. It's been Oronde. This has been the post game. Peace.